Visit our sponsor, UV4 Life, right now. Check out the Morel Advanced 6-Stage Air Sterilizer. Clean air for you and your family. Utilizes powerful dual UVC lamps to destroy airborne viruses, bacteria, and molds. Photocatalytic process breaks down common household chemicals such as formaldehyde and ammonia. HEPA filter eliminates particles. High-density activated carbon filter removes common household odors and smoke. Don't just filter your air, detox it with UV4 Life. Get the Morel 6-Stage Air Sterilizer today. Enter promo code GREEN for $50 off your order. Free shipping. Click the link below right now. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. It's Friday, August 7, 2015, and Donald Trump destroys his competition last night at the Ohio GOP debate. He destroys his competition. He makes everybody look so friggin' weak.
I think the big problem this country has is being politically correct. I've been challenged by so many people, and I don't frankly have time for total political correctness. And to be honest with you, this country doesn't have time either. This country is in big trouble. We don't win anymore. We lose to China. We lose to Mexico, both in trade and at the border. We lose to everybody.
Especially Jeb Bush in his muted suit. He's like a piece of driftwood. I mean, could you imagine making love to that guy?
Run hard, run with heart, and run to win. I'm going to have to earn this. Maybe the bar is even higher for me. That's fine. I've got a record in Florida. I'm proud of my dad, and I'm certainly proud of my brother. In Florida, they call me Jeb.
Ugh, disgusting. Everybody there, outside of Trump, so freaking weak, does not stand a chance against Hillary Clinton in 2016. And what was amazing about yesterday's debate is how Trump dominated every facet of the debate. And then post the debate, Fox was like, it was a total collapse of Donald Trump. Trump collapsed. He didn't perform well. Just goes to show you how the mainstream media, the establishment that owns the mainstream media, isn't in favor of Donald Trump. It's one of the reasons why I like him, because he threatens the establishment. He is dangerous to the establishment. Notice at the beginning of the debate, he raised his hand, says that he would not pledge with 100% degree certainty that he would be pledging the GOP, the Republican Party, and the Republican nomination, that he wouldn't potentially move over and contest these other individuals from the independent party or another platform.
Is there anyone on stage, and can I see hands, who is unwilling tonight to pledge your support to the eventual nominee of the Republican Party and pledge to not run an independent campaign against that person? Again, we're looking for you to raise your hand now. Raise your hand now if you won't make that pledge tonight. Mr. Trump. Mr. Trump, to be clear, you're standing on a Republican primary debate.
I fully understand.
The person I was sitting next to at the time said, well, that might piss some people off, anger some of the, the traditional Republicans, this right-left paradigm. I said, no, that's actually Donald Trump's leverage. Why would he give up his leverage? There's not a single other individual up there on the stage that could possibly win and beat Hillary Clinton in 2016. An impossibility. Donald Trump has all the leverage. He has all the excitement. He has all the passion. And he's the only one up there speaking his friggin' mind. Notice how the Fox pundits, Megyn Kelly, had to ask him about the scandalous things he said about women. He's like, look, dude, I kid. I'm kidding. I don't have time for this bullshit. People like you don't like me. People like the mainstream media treat him unfairly, et cetera, et cetera.
Mr. Trump. One of the things people love about you is you speak your mind and you don't use a politician's filter. However, that is not without its downsides, in particular when it comes to women. You've called women you don't like fat pigs, dogs, slobs, and disgusting animals. Your Twitter account...
Only Rosie O'Donnell.
No, it wasn't.
Which he's right about. Again, this attack dog that makes up Fox. I don't rip into Fox a lot, but they're just as bad as CNN. They just don't amuse me typically as much. Like when I tune into Anderson Cooper or Don Lemon, that really gets my juices flowing. That I really find amazing. Fox, I kind of know what they're going to say. I know the conservative bullshit, etc. I know that they're working for the establishment just like CNN. I don't quite get as much excitement from Fox. But it's clear that Fox does not like Donald Trump. They do not want Donald Trump to be president of the United States. All the pundits saying he collapsed last night. Bullshit. He freaking dominated. Who let the dogs out last night? Donald Trump did. He beat the shit out of his opponents. You know, my second favorite, Rand Paul. I like Rand Paul. I like what he stands for. I like his filibusters. I've been a big proponent of him over the years. I just don't think it's realistic that he can garner enough American support to really fight and topple Hillary in 2016. But I like him, my second favorite. I also thought Ben Carson stood out, the African-American gentleman, the brain surgeon. I thought he was funny. I thought he was humble. I just think he has a really good demeanor about himself. He's obviously very smart. And I think he's a very good representation of an American and, importantly, an African American. He doesn't feel sorry for himself. He's just a very intelligent, successful individual. I like him. He kind of reminds me of my own father, someone that demands respect, who's humble, who's a little bit funny, and you just plain out like. So I thought he actually stood out as well. But what is clear is that Donald Trump is dangerous. He is a threat to the GOP. He's a threat to the establishment, and he's wading in himself. I think he knows this, into a very dangerous area. You know, he's experienced in corporate America, but he's wading into politics now. This is very, very dangerous because it appears they don't want Donald Trump. He wasn't a part of the master plan. You know, I thought Trump's weakest moment last night when they talked about his 4 bankruptcies, his recent casino that went under, and how the lenders suffered a loss in the amount of, I think, $1 billion or something like that. But it's actually something I don't personally like about Donald Trump, that I think is unfair, that is politically incorrect. To use some of his own terminology, I think he gets unfair treatment, special treatment, because the lenders always restructure his debt. They never let him go bankrupt because he takes out these massive loans, etc. I thought that was his weakest moment. But Trump is right when he says these banks, you know, they aren't nice people. These banks are friggin' killers. You know, keep in mind they got trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars worth of taxpayer-infused bailouts in 2008. These aren't nice people. So his weakest moment, but outside of that, honestly, he dominated the entire debate. I noticed that CNBC is promoting Marco Rubio. I noticed that the test group post the debate, a lot of people were in favor of Rubio, and it seemed like 100% were against Trump. I mean, again, this is a clear example of mainstream media propaganda. They also ignored Trump when they were talking about the Middle East. Their first question about the war in Iraq, etc. They allowed all the other individuals to respond but Trump. And Trump actually picked up on this because, again, he's smart. He actually addressed his position on Iraq, the Middle East, and then went into the next question, which was on Obamacare.
Mr. Trump, Obamacare is one of the things you call a disaster.
Complete disaster, yes.
Saying it needs to be repealed and replaced.
Correct.
Now, 15 years ago, you called yourself a liberal on health care. You were for a single-payer system, a Canadian-style system. Why were you for that then, and why aren't you for it now?
First of all, I'd like to just go back to in July of 2004, I came out strongly against the war with Iraq because it was going to destabilize the Middle East. And I'm the only one on the stage that knew that and had the vision to say it. And that's exactly what happened. The Middle East became totally destabilized. So I just want to say.
And I also think this is something for America to think about. I very much believe, first of all, we're always at war. We're at war now. But I think we will have the next big war when the next president of the United States is president. And it could happen with Obama still in office here. And do we really want Hillary Rodham Clinton, somebody who should be in friggin' jail, which I commend for Trump saying publicly that should be in friggin' jail for her email scandal and lighting her servers on fire, etc., and that dishonesty. Do we really want Hillary Clinton, somebody who's perceived as weak by the rest of the world, especially the Middle East, a very weak woman, and just a weak politician in general? Do we really want her in power during the next great war? Do you think these other countries fear freaking Hillary and Bill, First Lady, in the White House? I think not. But they would fear Donald Trump because he's a little bit of a loose cannon. And I would argue that might just be perception. I actually think in reality, Trump is very calculated. He is a chess player. There's a reason why he has an estimated $10+ billion, give or take, I'm sure a few billion by his own estimates. There's a reason for it. But I think that perception is everything. That perception is reality. And other nations would, will, and do fear Donald Trump. I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of Donald Trump, of somebody who is a very strong-willed person, is a strong candidate, that has business experience, that I think actually has a shot at cleaning up an $18 trillion debt and growing, soon to be $22 trillion and growing. I think we have a shot there. But I think Donald also knows he's wading into a very dangerous area, dangerous side of the swimming pool, because I don't think the establishment wants him. Again, another reason I like him, because he's kind of come out of nowhere. He's surprised. He is dominating the polls. I checked the polls on Drudge Report last night. He had some 40% in favor of him winning the debate. Fox News said it was a total collapse because, again, that's bullshit mainstream propaganda. But the people say Donald Trump dominated. And if you watch the debate last night and you actually think for yourself, you don't take the mark of the beast, the chip, let someone else think for you, the pundits tell you what to think, you would know with 110% degree certainty that Donald Trump dominated his competition last night. Again, the whole GOP party so frigging weak. There was also a cool exchange with Christie and Rand Paul, them kind of discussing and debating over government surveillance.
I want to collect more records from terrorists, but less records from other people. How are you supposed to know, Megan?
Use the Fourth
What are you supposed
Amendment.
to? How are you supposed
Use
to?
the Fourth
no, I'll tell you how you
get a warrant.
Let me tell you something.
Get
you
a
go
judge to sign
when
a warrant.
Senator.
Wait, Governor Christie.
Christie to me comes across as a friggin' scumbag. Doesn't he just come across as a skeezy son of a bitch? Yeah, he needs to wiretap every single American, he says. You and your grandma to make sure there's not a terrorist event. That's his justification. You know, again, I like Rand Paul. I like what he stands for. I liked his father a lot better, actually. I really liked Ron. And I think they're both two really good candidates. I think Rand Paul is a really great candidate. He does fight for freedom. He stands up for the Bill of Rights, all the things that he says that he would do as president of the United States. But the reality is he doesn't have a chance. The playing field, the rest of the GOP doesn't have a chance. And again, that's Trump's leverage. If Trump goes independent, which is his leverage, it destroys the GOP party. They have to elect Donald Trump. That's where the excitement is. That's where the passion is. That's where the poll numbers are. That's where the people are. The people want the polar opposite of Barack Obama, his radicalization of America. And I always talk about how the pendulum swings. We swung into this liberalized, lollygag society of transgenderism and Obamacare and all this friggin' bullshit. Now it's swinging the other way. It's going to the politically incorrect. It's going to Donald Trump. It's going to this strong-willed individual. Now, one of the dangers of Donald Trump is we have to ask ourselves the question, is Donald in it for himself or is he in it for the country? Does he really want to make America great again? Or does he just want to make Trump great again? And that's a question I think you have to answer. I'm not actually going to answer that for you. I think that Trump has a huge ego. I think he's a narcissist. I think there's things I dislike about him. Those are also qualities that make, in actuality, a great president. My hope is that he's in it for America. You know, just like heads of companies, CEOs, for example, they can be in it for themselves and also enrich their shareholders. Hopefully that's the case with Donald Trump, that he could be in it for himself, but also enrich the country. He could bring America back from down on its knees. It could bring America back and make it great again. That's the hope. And again, if that's not the case, and Donald's just in it for himself, a very serious question we have to ask ourselves, is that good for the country? Because what we need is somebody like Donald Trump with the balls, with the guts, who tells us like it is, who tells us what he thinks, who's strong, who's calculated, that isn't afraid to strike, who other nations fear. We need someone like that, but we also need someone who's acting on behalf of the American people and this great country, not themselves selfishly. So Donald Trump, yes, I think he's going to enrich himself. If he becomes president of the United States, he will become wealthier. But hopefully that's a byproduct of what he says, making America great again. Again, whether you love him or hate him, Donald Trump dominated last night. He stole the freaking show. Don't believe for a minute what Fox News, Megyn Kelly, and the other media whores are telling you or want you to believe. Because again, Trump isn't a part of this establishment. Yes, he's a corporate elite. Yes, he's a bigwig. Yes, he's a billionaire, but he wasn't a part of this game plan. He, if anything, is entering a danger zone himself, and it will be very interesting to see how the powers that be and the establishment respond. I'm Christopher Green. Get this video out everywhere, make it viral, hard-hitting it in your face, and click the link below to support our sponsor.